Imagine a pristine wilderness untouched by the chaos of modern civilization. Its jagged peaks, lush valleys, and steaming geysers seem worlds away from the bustling courtrooms and legal machinations of urban life. Yet within this natural splendor lies one of the most peculiar legal anomalies in the United States, a loophole so strange and unsettling that it challenges the very foundation of justice. This 50-square-mile stretch of land, ominously dubbed the Zone of Death, is hidden within Yellowstone National Park. It is not a place of immediate danger or obvious peril. Rather, it is a quiet expanse where legal theory and constitutional law collide in an unprecedented way. Here, the normal rules of the judicial system may not apply. How did such a loophole come to exist? What does it reveal about the complexities of modern law? And most chillingly, could it ever be exploited in real life? To understand this legal gray area, we must journey deep into the history of Yellowstone, explore the intricacies of constitutional law, and confront the unsettling implications of a system stretched to its limits. The discovery of the zone. The existence of the Zone of Death was not uncovered by a detective or wilderness explorer, but by a legal scholar with a penchant for uncovering constitutional oddities. In 2005, Brian C. Kalt, a professor of law at Michigan State University, was researching issues related to the Sixth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. His aim was to examine how constitutional protections for criminal defendants were applied in unusual situations. What he discovered, however, was more bizarre than he could have anticipated. Yellowstone National Park, established in 1872, was the first national park in the world. Its boundaries were drawn to encompass the park's extraordinary geothermal features and vast wilderness. These boundaries, however, did not conform to state lines. Instead, Yellowstone sprawled across 3 states, Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho. When Congress granted federal jurisdiction over the park, it assigned all judicial authority to Wyoming's U.S. District Court, regardless of where within the park a crime occurred. This decision created an unusual situation for the Idaho portion of Yellowstone, a 50-square-mile area with no permanent human residence. According to the Sixth Amendment, a federal criminal trial must be held in the state and district where the crime occurred, and the jury must be drawn from that same district. However, since no one resides in the Idaho portion of Yellowstone, it is impossible to form a jury that satisfies these constitutional requirements. Kalt realized that this legal loophole could theoretically allow someone to commit a crime in the Zone of Death and evade prosecution. He published his findings in a scholarly article titled "The Perfect Crime," bringing attention to a problem few had ever considered. Hypothetical exploitation of the zone. The implications of Kalt's discovery are both fascinating and chilling. Imagine a scenario in which someone deliberately travels to the Idaho portion of Yellowstone to commit a crime. For simplicity's sake, let's consider a crime like poaching, which has historical relevance in the park. However, the same loophole could apply to far more serious offenses, including violent crimes. Upon being apprehended, the perpetrator would face prosecution in Wyoming's Federal District Court, as mandated by the park's jurisdictional rules. However, the Sixth Amendment guarantees the right to a trial in the state and district where the crime occurred. Since the crime took place in the Idaho portion of Yellowstone, the jury must be drawn from Idaho residents living within that district, which, as established, is uninhabited. Without a constitutionally valid jury, the defendant could argue that their right to a fair trial has been violated, potentially leading to the case's dismissal. While no one has successfully exploited this loophole in real life, the mere possibility is enough to raise serious concerns. The Zone of Death represents a rare instance in which the letter of the law conflicts with its intent, creating a scenario where justice could be thwarted by an oversight in legislative design. The zone of death in popular culture. The eerie implications of the zone of death have captured the public imagination, earning it a place in popular culture and academic discussions alike. It has been featured in legal journals, documentaries, and even works of fiction that explore its unsettling potential. One of the most notable fictional explorations of the zone of death comes from C.J. Box's novel Free Fire. The book introduces a character who exploits the legal loophole to commit murder within Yellowstone's Idaho boundary. While the story is fictional, it underscores the haunting reality of the loophole and its potential for abuse. The zone has also appeared in discussions about legal reform, wilderness management, and the philosophical underpinnings of justice. It serves as a case study for law students and a source of intrigue for the general public, blending elements of true crime, constitutional law, and wilderness adventure into a singularly fascinating narrative. Why hasn't it been fixed? Given the alarming implications of the zone of death, one might wonder why this loophole has not been addressed by lawmakers. The answer lies in a combination of factors, including bureaucratic inertia, the remoteness of the area, and the lack of real-world cases exploiting the loophole. Legislative solutions to the problem are relatively straightforward. Congress could modify the jurisdictional boundaries within Yellowstone, assigning the Idaho portion of the park to Idaho's Federal District Court. Alternatively, the park could be divided into smaller judicial districts to ensure that any future jury could be constitutionally composed. Despite the simplicity of these solutions, the issue has received little political attention. Lawmakers may view the zone of death as a theoretical problem with low urgency, especially compared to other pressing legal and environmental challenges. However, critics argue that waiting for a crime to occur before addressing the loophole is both negligent and irresponsible. What this tells us about modern law. The zone of death highlights the challenges of crafting laws that account for geographic and demographic complexities. While the U.S. Constitution is a robust framework for justice, its application can falter in scenarios that its drafters could never have anticipated. This legal anomaly serves as a reminder that even the most carefully designed systems are not infallible. It underscores the importance of periodic legal review and reform to address gaps and inconsistencies that emerge over time. The zone of death is a testament to the evolving relationship between human governance and the natural world, revealing the limits of our ability to impose order on an untamed landscape. What should be done? To resolve the zone of death's legal loophole, lawmakers must take proactive steps to redefine the park's jurisdictional boundaries or establish new rules for jury composition in cases involving uninhabited areas. These changes would require minimal legislative effort, but could prevent potential misuse of the loophole in the future. Advocates for reform argue that addressing the zone of death would not only eliminate a glaring vulnerability in the legal system, but also reaffirm the government's commitment to upholding justice even in the most remote corners of the country. Final thoughts. A quiet wilderness, an uneasy question. The zone of death is a place of extraordinary beauty and unsettling ambiguity. It is a reminder of the uncharted territories that exist not only in the natural world, but also in the systems we rely on to maintain order and fairness. For now, this remote corner of Yellowstone remains a theoretical anomaly, a legal riddle hidden among the geysers and grizzlies. Yet its existence challenges us to consider the fragility of the structures we take for granted and the ways in which they can be tested by the unexpected. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more amazing facts.